previewing week 8 of college football for the 2026 NFL draft. And Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss needs to make a big statement against Georgia.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He's a director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. If you're every day, you know what Friday means. Is week 8 preview of the college football season for the 2026 NFL draft. Offensive statement makers, defensive statement makers, and those sleeper prospects to watch. So let's get it started, man. Keith, we got some nice matchups on the schedule this week, especially in the SEC. What Tennessee versus Bama, Georgia versus Ole Miss, and that's the game I'm going to, Keith. Yep. I'm going to that Georgia Ole Miss game, and I'm going to Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback that weeks ago nobody knew who he was when he took that first start against Arkansas, and he has not relinquished that starting job yet. I'm pretty sure Austin Simmons is healthy, but it's the fact that what we talked about even then is that Lane Kiffin understood that Trinidad is playing the way he needs him to play. He's protecting the football, playing well, using his legs. He's an athletic kid. Georgia's defense presents a whole different that's a different monster. That's a different beast in terms of what they have athletically, physically on the defensive line. You got to worry about number 3 at the second level, C.J. Allen. You got to protect the ball, right? And one thing a part of Trinidad Chambliss's game is the fact that he runs the ball as well. And one thing Georgia does with him, Raylan Wilson at linebacker as well. C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson are physical and fast linebackers. So these are the type of guys that can kind of, have Lane telling you, trust the protection. Let's sit in the pocket a little bit. Let's not run it as much as we, unless something breaks down, then sure. I want to see how he plays in this game because, Keith, I think in this quarterback class, like this show, man, I like his arm. I think I like his process too. For a guy that transferred from Ferris State, he goes through his progressions, right? It's not a guy that looks at he's only hitting the first read or like he's staring down the first read and can't go anywhere else. He will go through his progressions. If that first read is taken, he'll move to the 2, to the 3. And then if he has to, his legs are the ultimate equalizer, right? And he's a playmaker. But he also can push the ball down the field. He can push it outside the numbers. I want to see it because that secondary is susceptible right now for Georgia. Can you get the deep ball going? Can you create explosive plays? I'm looking at Trinidad Chambliss because I think this is a young man that could absolutely keep. We mess around and fast forward to Senior Bowl week, and he's one of the top names at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, no, I mean this is why we do this show, right? This statement maker is because it's not just making a statement on a college football Saturday. It's making a statement for your draft stock. And this is huge for Trinidad Chambliss to come out of nowhere. You talked about a D2, I think it's D2 or D3, Ferris State, and then come in and be one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Because if he goes in here and plays well against this Georgia defense, right, then now you have no choice but to put him in the top 10, top 7 quarterbacks because he's performing well, right? And it's the same conversation we've had with the John Mateers and things like that, right? Like, hey, this guy's playing good football. Like you got to elevate him, right? He's doing what he has to do overall. So I like that call out, DP, because this is a huge matchup and a huge test for him. And then also, I mean, if we want to take it there, let's take it there. Do something that Jackson Dart didn't do. Right, take down a big-time opponent, right, and put Ole Miss truly atop the college football rankings. Like, this is 2-3 best teams because every time Ole Miss climbed there, it would be a big game, and then they will lose it, right? And so do something that hasn't been done the past 5 years. So I like that call-out, DP, with Trinidad Chambliss. I'm going to go to the Alabama-Tennessee matchup, and I'm going to go with both quarterbacks, but I'm going to start with Ty Simpson. I'm going to go with Ty Simpson because – with this Tennessee offense, DP, you never know what you're going to get. Is it very possible that your defense could hold them to 10 points in the first quarter? Yeah, that's possible. But it's also possible that this Tennessee offense scores 21 to 28 points in the first quarter, like they
Mm-hmm.
did against Georgia, I believe, right? And everybody was sitting
Yep.
there like, is Tennessee about to go for 70, right? That's what everybody was wondering after the first quarter. Oh, but the reason I bring that up is because I think regardless, you know you're going to be in a duel, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is probably going to be a shootout. So we talked about it on yesterday's podcast. There are no physical traits that Ty Simpson has that you're like, oh, this guy runs a 4-4, take off run and be a game changer that way.
Yeah.
Looking how he controls the game, you're going to have to hit every throw because the way
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee offense sets up is that they're going to put up points. And you have to be able to, like, you know what? I see what defenses is. Boom, boom, boom. Let me rock and roll, right? Boom, boom,
Yep.
boom, rock and roll. And you got to do it for 4 quarters. And you can't make that big mistake because you feel like one big mistake can be the turning point. Missouri's offense
Absolutely.
good. I think it was a good warming up because Missouri has a good offense. I like their offense.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when you talk about it, Tennessee is the next level, and then especially Brazil, right on the other side, that the defensive backs gonna have to deal with. And then also I'll say this, that when you look at Alabama's skills positions, players, they're good, not great. Right? They're
Mm-hmm.
good football players. They're not great. This
Yeah.
is not the Jerry Judys and the
Right.
Jalen Waddles, and it's not that, right? These are good
Yeah.
players. They're not great players at this very moment. So I look at Ty Simpson, then flip on the other side real quick with Joey Aguilar. Same conversation we just had about Trinidad Chambliss. Come in, you're a transfer guy. Come in, ball out, elevate your name, get people to start thinking. It took 1 year for the Hendon Hooker conversation. DP, he transferred
Facts.
from Virginia Tech, and then everybody was like, and before he tore his knee up, everybody was thinking, could this guy go in the first round? Right?
First round. Yep.
So go continue to ball out, put up numbers, have the conversation, get your name invoked into the conversation. And for all 3 of these quarterbacks that we just put out, the Heisman race is wide open right now. Go figure it out.
Somebody got to take a stronghold
Yeah.
over it.
Yep.
Somebody got to step up and say it's my award, right? Like, and I think Trinidad, like that's why I'm so excited for him, because it's like at the end of the day, Keith, especially for the Heisman, they need a video package. The narrative, the storyline. There's no greater storyline than going from Ferris State to the SEC. You weren't the starter. You transferred late into the fall, into I think August or whatever, late July, whatever it was, the fall window. You QB2, injury happens. You took over and you never gave it back. And you ran the table. You're out here balling. Yes, to me, that's a Heisman. Like, I could absolutely envision ESPN running that package, talking to his family, all his old coaches at Ferris State. The narrative is there. So for him, Joey Aguilar, because I talked about this because Joey was my QB of the week from last week. I think with Joey, it's just like, man, the spot in the SEC championship game is still up for grabs. And we know that we're probably getting 4 SEC teams in the top 12 for the CFP. And Tennessee, if you lose this game close, you still got a shot. Like, let's say you lose the game by 1 score. Well, you lost to Georgia by 1 score. Like, you could, if you made the field goal, you win that game. You still got a really big chance, because the ACC is a little bit of a down situation. The teams we thought were going to be dominant,
I mean, Penn State is all the way out, right?
all the way out.
That was one you were counting in for the Big Ten, right? That was the team
It's
you
no
was counting
chance
in.
for them now. Like,
Yeah.
so it's Indiana, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan probably isn't getting there with
Yeah, I
the
don't think
freshman
if
quarterback.
the 14 looks like USC, maybe.
Yes,
like,
USC, yep.
something like that.
And I think USC has a big game, against
This one, they have
Notre Dame.
Yep.
Dame. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think this is for Joey, for Trinidad. Yeah, this is a chance for you guys to go ahead and stake yourself as Heisman contenders, while also continuing to push your teams forward to the CFP and potentially a SEC championship matchup. Because if Tennessee knocks off Bama and Ole Miss knocks off Georgia, these 2 teams might be in the SEC championship game where we get Trinidad Chambliss versus Joey Aguilar. If you ask anybody about that in the preseason, we're like, who are those guys? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Most people ask that.
DP, correct me if I'm wrong. The other part of that too is that they don't. Well, no, Ole Miss is in the SEC. Well, no, because they don't do the whole division thing anymore.
I think they got rid of
right?
it.
So yeah, so it's like it's wide open, right? You can just win, right? That's the name of the game. Just win. But DP, let's do this, man. Yeah. We like to talk offense, but we have to flip the coin and talk about these defensive playmakers, these defensive statement makers to watch for this upcoming week of football. We'll talk about those guys coming up next.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you, therapists. Life can be tough on and off the field, and behind millions of mental health journeys are therapists who show up, listened, and helped people take a step forward. BetterHelp is shining the spotlight on those connections while also making it simple for you to find support whenever you need it to be the best version of yourself. This World Mental Health Day, join us in celebrating the therapists who've helped millions take a step forward. If you're ready to start your own journey, BetterHelp can help you find the right therapist. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/locked on. That's better, H-E-L-P, betterhelp.com/locked on. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Every day we make decisions, but on Prize Picks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Playing Prize Picks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards or Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in less than 60 seconds. I mean, in under a minute. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's the code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is good to be right. Defensive prospects to watch, Keith, and I go right back to that Ole Miss. Talked about him a little bit. Ole Miss Georgia game. CJ Allen, like I think you said it. I think you said yesterday on yesterday's pod. This might be the best linebacker class we've seen in quite some time. And CJ Allen was one of my top 10 prospects. Coming into the season, I love his game. If he was 6'4", 245, and built like Arvell Reese, he'll be up there right with Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles. Like, this dude can cover. He tackles, he blitzes, he's instinctive, he's all of it. The physical, like this is, you know what was crazy, Keith? He is Nakobe Dean if Nakobe Dean was a really good athlete. Like, because Nakobe Dean tackled, he was aggressive, he was physical, he was instinctive. He just wasn't the athlete that everybody wanted him to be. Right?
I think,
when
Nakobe, the size limitation started showing, right, from a length and overall, right, like good player. I think it was that kind of combined too. But I always think about when you had an early comp for CJ, and that was Roquan. I believe you mentioned Roquan Smith. And I always think about that because they're probably going to come in very similar from a height weight perspective. Honestly, like very, very similar players.
100%. So I'm looking forward to seeing him and just how like that chess match between him and the quarterback Trinidad. Like, how do you combat this young man and keep him in the pocket, stop his legs from being a difference maker in this game, right? Those third downs. Like, every time I watch like Arkansas, the defense on third downs, you have to, like, you can't just play man against Arkansas. It's like, well, if we play man, their quarterback can run, and he's definitely going to pick those 6'6" legs are going to scoot, and he's going to get the first down, right? We seen it with John Mateer when he was healthy before the hand injury, using your legs on those key downs. So CJ Allen, I'm absolutely watching him in this game.
Yeah, I like that call out. DP, I'm gonna go to an early morning slate. And we haven't discussed this game yet, but could be a really good matchup and interesting matchup. LSU at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And defensive prospects I'm calling out: Mansur Delane, Harold Perkins, Whit Weeks. That trio of players, right? Mansur Delane, cornerback for LSU, Whit Weeks, and Harold Perkins, two linebackers. I'm gonna say Mansur because I'm gonna say make a play, right? And as of now, Vanderbilt doesn't have a top tier draft prospect wide receiver, right? But make a play. And then with the linebackers with Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins, I this is what I believe, and this is what we know. Diego Pavia ain't scared. That's the one thing. He not scared, right? So and it's different from him having to go to Bama versus now he feels like, oh, I have a chance to knock off a quote unquote top program at my house. Oh yeah, come on, let's have some fun, right? And that's the part where you like, okay, listen, the combination of you two guys at linebacker, as whether that's spying Diego Pavia, right? Like being able to run the seams if they run some seam routes with Eli Stowers, just different things like that. You guys are going to have to make plays, and I'm interested to see, because when you look at this LSU defense, they faced DJ Lagway, they faced Lenoris Sellers, K Klubnik, right? And that's probably the three biggest matchups thus far. Trinidad Chambliss. They faced Trinidad Chambliss.
Trinidad, yep.
And not ranking these guys, not looking at it from a draft prospect perspective, but college football players. Diego Pavia might be the best. He might be playing the best, most consistent football like of the quarterbacks they played. Does that make sense of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like not projecting them. I'm just saying, put them on a football field and play college football. Diego Pavia may be the most experienced in playing the best football. And so it should be a good test for these defenders, because I think we get to see just how good this LSU defense is or isn't, one way or the other.
Yeah, I think Pavia's legs come into play. He's willing to run, put his body on the line, things of that nature, that connection between him and Eli Stowers. They have a freshman. No, that was Missouri. Never mind. That was Missouri. It was a freshman receiver. I remember watching against Bama, and I'm like, yo, like this kid got some skill. And I'm like, nope, that was Missouri. So no, I'm with you. Their ability to run the ball, and Diego Pavia just being Diego. Like, what I mean? He's so fearless and gritty and tough. All those cliche things, the terms we use to describe a player, it describes Diego Pavia. Keith, I go to an interesting matchup that I don't think people really think about: Michigan versus Washington. And this was a matchup from 2 years ago, the national championship game. Michael Penix, Parkey, and everything. I look at cornerback Jair Hill, 6'2", 190. Boy, you're gonna have your hands full with Denzel Boston. You know what I mean? Denzel might not be the best separator and everything at 6'6", he's like 6'4", 220, whatever. But boy, when the ball's in the air, those 50-50 passes turn to 95-5. Like it's 95 in his favor. You know what I mean? So and I think this might be the biggest in terms of height and weight corner he's faced all season and everything. So that's why I'm looking at Jair, because I'm like, okay, this could be a nice physical matchup where when the ball's in the air, can you go up there with Denzel? You have the height. He's only got you about maybe 2 inches in terms of being 6'4" to 6'2". Now he's got some weight on you a little bit. You got a little bit of weight on you because he's a muscular, strong, dense frame. But can you eliminate him at the catch point? Can you go up, knock the ball out, create PBUs, but also staying in the hip pocket? Wink Martindale, you need to let your guys press. That tape versus USC was absolutely atrocious. All the off coverage, 6-7 yards off ball, Makai Lemon lined up against a safety. I'm like, are you asking to have Jaden Mayava just look like Jordan Love and Caleb? He just looked good out there getting the ball out. I'm like, well, you're not getting any type of press coverage at all. So I would like to see them get up to the line of scrimmage, be physical, and make Denzel Boston earn every single rep. Like, make him earn every single rep. Because if you don't, he's going to moss you. He's going to body you in the red zone, down the field, back shoulder fades. And the fact of, like, I know playing man's going to be a little tough because Damon Williams is a dynamic runner and everything. So I know that's going to play a part too. But, man, I don't want to see all that 6-7 yards off coverage. Like, nah, don't give me that soft stuff. I need to see some physical man coverage. Play tough, play gritty, because if not, we might be seeing the career game from Denzel Boston.
Yeah, I agree. And Denzel DP, he's one of those quickly rising and taking leaps up my draft board. I like him a lot. I told you he's gonna comp to Rome. I think he's more explosive out of cuts than Rome. Rome's more of a strider. I think he's more explosive out of cuts. So I really like what Denzel could be, and I agree with you because Jair has been a name that's kind of floated under the radar. Like I feel like he's kind of got placed in first rounds, but there isn't necessarily a conversation. Like it's what's the best way to a placement by default in a sense. Right,
tools
like
and size, and
tools, but like, okay, where's the film to say that you are CB1? And for that conversation, DP, CB1 is still wide open, right? Like somebody go take the bull by the horns and say, I'm not only corner, like I'm a top 10 pick
right now.
Yeah,
It's just
100%.
delayed at the moment.
Yep, 100% with DP. Let's do this, man. We have to call out the sleepers to watch. Which draft prospects are floating under the radar, and we must talk about them because they will make impact plays this upcoming weekend of college football. Let's talk about those draft prospects coming up next.
Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply just move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every single model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything you'd like, but from smooth handling to intuitive controls with all-wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any, and I mean any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? Confidence, pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rujit Golong. Rujit Golong isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for your confidence. Golong combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in one dual-action formula, so you can get up and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours, and that's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to Rujit.com and use the promo code LOCKEDON NFL for 15% off your order. That's Rujit.com, spelled RUGIET.com with the promo code LOCKEDONNFL. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Keep the sleepers, guys. It's time to wake up, man. Let that alarm clock go off a little bit. Oregon's coming off their first loss this season to Indiana. And Elijah Surratt, who's, you talk about Denzel Boston rising, Elijah Surratt is climbing the way he's playing right now. And he gave those corners a lot of trouble, whether it was with his route running, especially with his strength and physicality and stuff like that. Well, they got another guy who might be who's bigger and stronger, and his last name is Strong as well. Ian Strong from Rutgers, 6'3", 211, 215, ball skills, body control, a physical receiver, back shoulder fades, kind of that possession build. I need to see Oregon, like, don't sleepwalk into this game, right? Like, don't come in here thinking it's Rutgers, we're fine, we're going to get back on track. Yeah, because their quarterback is slinging. Like, he'll absolutely sling the rock, and he's going to go right to Ian Strong. Ian Strong is playing. He's one of the best Big Ten receivers that nobody talks about right now. This young man is playing great ball all season long right now, and I think this is one of those games where, for me, he's a big time sleeper. He's a he's a junior who has the ability to come back next year, Keith. But I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we say it all the time on this pod. You strike while the iron is hot. Yep. Okay, like don't let these people fool you and going back. Like Ian Strong, for context, guys, Ian Strong it's only one game. He's played 5 games this year. He only has one game where he did not cross 100 yards. Like, he has been consistent. He has played well. He's come off a game against Washington, and Washington got a big 6'4" corner, Ephesians Prysock, Against Washington in week 7, 15 targets, 7 catches, 124 yards, average over 17 and a half yards per catch. This young man can play. And those corners in Oregon looked a little small to me when I was watching them.
They looked slight. They looked
slight.
Yeah,
little slight. So it was like, man, if Elijah Surratt at 6'2", 215 made you look like that, 6'3", 215 is gonna make you look a lot smaller. So keep your eyes on number 9, Ian Strong, wide receiver from Rutgers.
I like that call out, DP. And I know this is supposed to be sleepers, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to talk about this matchup from a underrated perspective, from two programs you wouldn't necessarily think have implications, and probably they don't play each other much. Oklahoma and South Carolina have a matchup, and I'm looking squarely at the quarterbacks, John Mateer and Lenoris Sellers. I think that for John, obviously him having it was the hand injury, and he came back obviously for the Red River rivalry, didn't play well. You almost wonder, reversing it, that if Oklahoma would have kept him out, then you still would have had the narrative and conversation of, oh, we lost that game because we didn't have our starting quarterback, right?
Exactly.
Like, you almost built in that excuse to the committee to kind of throw that loss out the window, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you could have had that built in. But I get it. Listen, we all competitors, right? At the end of the day. Then I look on the other side of that with Lenoris Sellers. This is where you have to start turning it on. Like we got to get going, right? We got to get going, making some plays. And just because this is in the Lenoris Sellers conversations, and it's going to be unfortunate, but we called this preseason, and it's going to be what it's going to be, and there's nothing that we can do something about it, because obviously we have this platform, but there's nothing we can do about it. And you don't turn it on, they're going to be the comps to Justin Fields. They're going to be the comps to Anthony Richardson. Like they're waiting. They're sitting there, and it's like, if you don't start going through the progressions and things like that and throwing the football at a high level, they're going to come, and then that's going to hurt your draft stock, right? So I'm looking at the Norris, and because you see all of the physical tools there for him, it's just a matter of turning the curve and being like, let's get going. And then for John Mateer, I mean, listen, 2-3 weeks ago, Heisman watch, right? Heisman leader. And it's like, post this injury, can you get back on that horse and get going again, to people saying like, okay, this is a first round prospect, one of the better quarterbacks.
And this is a physical South Carolina defense, right? Dylan Stewart coming off the edge. You got, the corners and safeties they have.
Yep.
This was a game, to me, this should have been your first game back. You should have trusted the backup quarterback. We know that Texas offense isn't firing on all cylinders right now. Yep. Let your defense be your defense, and let Mateer rest. And like you said, you had that built-in excuse to be like, listen, committee, we have our quarterback against Texas. You know what I mean? And we lost by 3. So if we had John Mateer healthy, we beat them. You got a real case. Instead, you let him go out there and throw 3 picks. And it's like, we know he's not 100%. It didn't make sense. So I think I'm looking at this game. This to me, for Sellers, I don't feel good, because this is a defense that's probably going to be pissed off that they lost that game against Texas. Brent Venables going to dial it up, and you have probably one of the worst offensive lines in the SEC. Like, South Carolina can't run. They typically can't run block or protect Lenoris. So it's like you're constantly in what we talk about with humans in the brain, like the fight or flight mode. That's what he is as a quarterback. And it's like, and we're going to, if this stretch, which is tough, if he doesn't play well in this stretch, we're going to eventually get to the point where it's like, all right, you're a redshirt sophomore.
Come back.
See you in 2026. But dear God, I don't want to see you in South Carolina. Transfer somewhere else. Keith, I got to go to a Big Ten matchup real quick, and that is Pittsburgh, who's 4-2, against Syracuse. Syracuse got some wide receivers in this matchup I like. Justice Ross Simmons, 6'3", 210. This guy's got ball skills, leaping ability, long strider, so he can eat up grass, you know what I mean, on the vertical, when he's working the vertical plane, things like that. But he knows how to box guys out at the catch point, run good slant routes, and be kind of a possession receiver. I think he's got more juice to bring the big play consistently. Unfortunately for them, they don't have their quarterback, who was playing well because he got hurt against Clemson. But go back to that Clemson game, they didn't have a way to cover this guy. Like, they couldn't cover him.
Their wide receivers had a coming out party.
legitimately. Like at least 2 of them in that game. So hopefully, I think the quarterback's name is Collins. Ricky Collins. Hopefully, Ricky can get it going. It hasn't worked out too well right now at 6'2", 210, because like I said, the starting quarterback's out for the year with that. I think it's a knee injury. College just don't tell us what actually happened. They don't. They just be like, yeah, it's a lower body injury, like ACL, fibula. Like, nope, it's just lower body. He's out for the season. All right, great. You know what I mean? So he's out. So Ricky Collins, hopefully he can get him the ball. But I think this is a nice matchup for Justice Ross Simmons to go out there and really, because he's a senior and a guy that can continue to get on the radar of the Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, and hey, we know that that's a great opportunity to get drafted.
Yeah, I like that, DP, and I like that call out, and that's yet another wide receiver. When we talked about the linebacker position being deep, this wide receiver position is rounding out to have a lot of guys with various different body types. Like I putting together the top 100 that we just released, I can make a case for 20-25 wide receivers, right? And just even body types, right? The Makai Lemon, Zachariah Branch, our guy down at Auburn, Singleton, like all of these guys have similar, like it's 7 guys that should be like, okay, these are explosive guys. Then you have another 10 guys that are 6'2" plus 200 pounds, right? When you talking about the Jacoby Lanes, the Malachi Fields,
Right.
it's
Denzel
just
Boston, all of them.
Denzel Boston, Chris Bell. It's a lot of wide receivers. So this is going to be fun how this thing unfolds as far as the wide receiver position, right? And I agree with you that a showcase like this for Ross Simmons goes a long way as far as just even getting into the conversation, Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, and being able to go out there and compete and then elevate your draft stock. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think this is we're gonna eventually rank our wide receivers at some point, but definitely something to look forward to. We got to break down that some of that top 100 y'all dropped over there at the Draft Network. You got have an episode on that. See who's in the top 10, top 15, top 25. Because right now it's up and down. It's up and down right now.
And we're getting so many wide receivers, like the CJ Daniels, right, is playing better. He's playing more to a 3rd round pick, and then you still have Noah Thomas over there in Georgia who can play football and play well at Texas A&M, and hopefully it's turned out. It's just a lot of wide receivers, DP.
It's a ton of them. Casey Concepcion.
That's another one. Yep.
It's so many wide receivers. Like I said, Ian Strong. Like you're just looking at me like, man, like, yeah, it's like walking into a ice cream shop. Like, man, y'all got all the flavors in here.
Yeah,
like, we got everything you need. Whatever you want, we got you.
If you're an NFL team, you might be able to walk away with a whole new wide receiver core in this draft.
Facts. Like you could definitely get some guys late. Be like, you know what? I'm good. I like what we have right now.
Yo, with DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. Like we like to say, man, y'all come talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.